I don't give a fuck if I'm crying. I don't fucking care. America, we're struggling, man. We're dying every fucking day, bro. We got to hear about another friend that blew his fucking head off. Another friend that fucking overdosed. Another friend that fucking did something stupid. Another friend that fucking... Everyone fucking hates, dude. We're very lonely, America. This is from a veteran. We're fucking dying. We're fucking dying, dude. You can't just feed us pills and say, here's fucking $100 a month. Go fuck yourself. I don't care if I sound like a bitch. We need something to fucking happen, bro. Fuck you.
I'm an American. I was taught growing up that we were the good guys. I was taught other countries are scary. I'm an American. Everything here is an ad. I go window shopping for clothes. That way I don't waste my money on clothes instead of food. I'm an American. The prisons here are privatized. It's basically slave labor. If you have enough money, you can get away with violence, but God forbid if you accidentally mess up on your own taxes. I'm an American. The government doesn't do my taxes. I do mine. And I have to pay to do it. I'm an American. I will never own a home. I will never have a child. I will never have a wedding. Not the one I wanted anyway. I'm an American. We pay more for our military planes than we do for our healthcare, which is nothing. We don't have healthcare. I'm an American. All my tax dollars go to fund wars I don't agree with. I'm an American. I couldn't afford college because I had to pay for it myself, which put me in debt. I'm an American. Last time I went to the ER because I thought my appendix was bursting, it took me 9 hours to get seen. And then I paid $2,000 for it. And that was with health insurance. I'm an American. I pay hundreds of dollars a month in gas because there's no buses you can ride here. Unless you want a 4-hour round trip to your work and back. I'm an American, and I hate it here.
I'm an American who lives in England, and I was sent to A&E today by my GP. And I was there for 6 hours. And I felt annoyed that I was there for that long. And then I was like, I don't think I'm allowed to be annoyed because I've come from America where this visit would cost me so much money, and here I pay nothing at the point of service. Obviously we contribute in other ways, but not right at that minute. And so when I was sent home with my prescriptions and my cannula was taken out and everything, I didn't even have to pay for parking because they waived it because I had been at the hospital so long. So I was like, well, I feel like I'm not allowed to be annoyed at how long I was here because I got seen and, it didn't cost me anything at that time. But also, doctors are doctors. No matter which country you're in, they're busy. They have loads of people to see. You're going to be sat waiting. And I feel like I am actually allowed to be both grateful and annoyed at the NHS at the same time. I can be grateful to have access to it and simultaneously be annoyed that it took 6 hours to access it. And I feel like I'm coming to terms with okay, that's fair.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. Well, I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you're watching me from. As you know, I'm your host and presenter at Jinto Stories. Well, I'm hoping that you're doing fine. There's something that I want to discuss with you, something really important. Remember today, everyone is going through it in the United States, at least the bottom 99%, because the United States it's divided into two. The top 1% that belongs to the oligarchs are the bottom 99% of people, a group of people who are trying to get out of the 99% to get in the top 1%, which is so difficult, and a group of people that are down below the sea level. This is what is happening. Black people in the United States had already been used to all these, problem. And so they try to find an alternative to survive in this already rigged system, right? But white people are going through what is called cognitive dissonance because for the longest time they believed in the American dream and they believed that America was great and America was great for everyone. But this wasn't seem to be true. As the oligarchs have always tried to play people using race. And this is how it happens. Look at back in history during the Black Arms Rebellion, how the creation of whiteness came to be. The creation of whiteness came to be because this created a racial class to show that you as a black person, you don't deserve the privileges, but you as a white person, you deserve the privileges. And now it is in the 21st centuries. It is in the 21st centuries. The privileges doesn't seem to be there like they used to be. And suffering between black people and white people, maybe brown people, it is same. People are going all through the same struggle. People are going through all these crazy things that are happening today. And this leads us to today's discussion. People are having emotional breakdown over what is going on in the United States today. From there is no affordable housing today. Everything is damn expensive, food, all these crazy things that are happening. And the world is watching. We are watching. And at least some of us have something to say about this, at least to share about this and discuss about these issues. And that's why I'm asking you, if you want to be part of this journey of us having to discuss, having a common goal in talking about all these things, kindly make sure that you subscribe to my channel, you join my membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. Because I feel like these topics are really, really important. And it's important for us to one time have discussions about these things. A lot of people are breaking down mentally because of all these things that are happening. There is no affordable housing. There is no food. There are no jobs, right? So let me know what you think about this in the comment section as you brace yourself for this video. I'll be back and I'll be offering my commentary in regards to this. If you find my commentary so helpful to you, kindly consider subscribing to my channel, join my membership, and really get so I can offer you. But until then, let's watch the video. I'll be back.
I've had enough. Yeah, I've had enough of this horse shit. I don't give a shit what kind of law you make. I ain't going to follow it. I ain't paying my taxes this year. I just don't even care. I'm not going to be ruled by tyrants. I'm done. No taxes. I'm not following your goddamn laws that you make that are arbitrary and unconstitutional. I just ain't doing it. I've had fucking enough of your bullshit. Washington State, Oregon, California, kiss my ass. I ain't following no more laws. No more new laws that don't make no sense. Your little snitch line and all your bullshit you got going on, I'm not doing it. I'm not funding your scams and your NGOs and your fucking bullshit. Your wars, your thieving. Yeah, thieving. You loudmouth politicians that don't give a fuck about the common person. I'm done. I've had enough. I am no longer going to participate in your horse shit. And I don't give a fuck what you try to take from me. I come into this world with nothing. I'll go out with nothing. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and fuck off. And on top of that, you best leave me the fuck alone, because you won't like the results if you come out here and try to stomp on my neck. It won't end well. I'm old. And I'm mean as fuck. Leave me alone.
How do you enjoy your weekend when you're stressed and overwhelmed? We wake up on Saturday and the weight's still there. It doesn't matter if you're off work or at work. The bills are stacking up. The house is still a mess in your brain. Well, it won't shut off, will it? You try to relax, but you feel guilty for it. You try to rest, but the world says you're lazy if you do. You want to breathe, but it feels like every second you waste might put you even farther behind. People say, oh, just enjoy your time off. Bro, I can't. I'm too damn tired to be present and too anxious to sit still. I feel like I'm drowning in responsibility while everyone else is out here living. And your job from Friday has you already anxious for what's to come when you go back on Monday, because you're left with a huge mess on your hands and now you got to walk back into that train wreck. The weekend's supposed to be a break, but for a lot of us, it's just a pause in the chaos. We don't relax. We just barely recover. And deep down, we're all just wondering, how much can we do and how long can we do this for before we finally break? Monday's almost here, folks, and that's always there in the back of our minds. It's always there waiting for us. And before you know it, that alarm clock's going to be ringing at 5 or 6 a.m. Monday morning, and back you are. Have a good weekend.
People are broke, and now there's proof showing up in the numbers. Kellogg's reported an 8.6% drop in cereal sales. Crocs pulled its entire financial forecast. Heineken says people are drinking less. And even global giants like Nestle are seeing sales fall across the board. And what's scary about this, it's not about cutting luxuries. People are walking away from everyday items. Candy, snacks, fast food, takeout. Last Saturday, I went for lunch at a popular restaurant. Usually packed at noon, we expected a wait. Instead, we were just a handful of people there. Because consumers are cutting back hardest on items that bring joy. Chips, chocolate, going out to dinner. Not because they want to, because simply they don't have the fucking money. And companies know it. Forecasts are being pulled. Behind the scenes, they see the truth. Demand just isn't slowing. It's fucking collapsing. After 5 brutal years, Americans are barely hanging on, and now the administration slaps tariffs on top of it. It's like throwing gasoline on an already burning house. These families are one missed paycheck away from financial collapse. Americans aren't tightening belts anymore. They've run out of fucking notches.
I look like an absolute mess right now, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about what has been happening for the past few weeks with me. I'm a federal employee. I usually don't like to say that on this app because, you know, people apparently hate federal employees. But I was illegally terminated on Valentine's Day. And then after I had applied to unemployment, I got a notification a week later at 2 a.m. that my job was reinstated due to the stakeholders that I work with, their concern about me getting fired. And they had to petition our Republican representative to reinstate my job. And I'm grateful that they fought for me, even though I shouldn't have been terminated in the first place. But let me just say, since I've gotten my job back, I've hated every moment. There is nothing more demoralizing than going to your job as a public servant and then watching all of the people that also are public servants around you get fired, and illegally fired, if I might add. And watching all of your friends and people that you really care about lose their livelihoods, their careers, everything they've worked for their entire lives just getting thrown out the window. It really doesn't boost morale for me to have to watch these things and to hear about these things and to be in constant communication with so many people that have been affected by this administration and what they call government efficiency downsizing. That's absolutely not true. I have a lot of friends that work at different federal agencies because I'm a returned Peace Corps volunteer. So a lot of us that do Peace Corps, we usually transition to federal jobs after. And from what I've heard across different people that are experiencing things at different agencies, it's all kind of similar to me. It seems like a lot of essential workers and facilities are now being cut on the ground in the places where we're trying to serve the community. And it's just making the government completely inefficient. And then this administration is then going to blame government workers for not being efficient when all of their resources have been cut off. And all of our constituents and the people that we serve have been brainwashed into thinking that we are the problem. It's not the administration, it's the government workers. I know a lot of scientists, biologists, conservationists that have been attacked publicly and online saying that we are government bureaucrats, when in reality, a lot of us just finished our 2 or 3 degrees where we got paid no money for every single day that we worked. And then this was our first job, our first real paying job out of school. You don't go into biology or conservation for the money. I just want to make all of that clear to everyone. You go into it because you care about the earth. You care about the citizens of the US. You care about people that aren't billionaires, right? You care about nature, animals. You want to preserve the amazing biodiversity and our agricultural and ecological systems in this country. And in the past, we've had pretty strong support from both the different administrations and the public on the work that we do because it is important and it is irreplaceable. But now, so many of Trump's loyalists and followers have been brainwashed into thinking that we deserve to lose our jobs because we're scientists and we're lying to people, which is absolutely crazy. Like, I did not, when I was a little kid watching Steve Irwin when I was 5 years old, I wasn't imagining that when I decided to pursue a career in biology and ecology that I would be getting attacked for wanting to save and to improve the natural systems in this country. And now that we don't even have the public support, it's like, what's the point? What are we fighting for? We're just getting berated at work, at online for literally nothing. And all of these people have been convinced that, yeah, we're the enemy. And I'm going to watch as our national parks get torn apart. I'm going to watch as the sorghum and wheat growers that I work with at my job lose their farms, lose their crop insurance, and lose their livelihoods, let's be frank. So I want everyone to just take a good hard look about what's happening right now. Like, just look around you. Do you think that tearing down these agencies is really going to improve your life? Because it's not. It's going to actually drastically decrease the quality of your life. And if you are too dense and too brainwashed to see that, I truly pity you, because you are literally attacking the people that are keeping you between being housed and unhoused, having natural parks and spaces and not, and having a food supply, a safe and sustainable food supply and not. So please reconsider who you're trying to attack right now. Are we really the enemy, or is it the freaking billionaires that have taken over this country?
My ancestors came here legally, and they came here the right way, because they came here before 1874. Before 1874, the borders were completely open, and you can't blame Biden for that. Before 1874, there were no laws. And between 1874 and 1924, there began a systemic series of laws that began to restrict immigration. But they did not really restrict immigration for white Europeans. They were to begin the restriction of mostly Asian immigration, specifically the Chinese. And they were brutal. They began to restrict immigration then against anarchists, polygamists, and other quote-unquote undesirables. But again, between 1874 and 1924, if you were off the boat from Europe and you were white, you were welcome into this country with open arms. I say this because many Americans today who are claiming this, and today of all days, with all the protests on immigration, who are claiming my ancestors came here legally and they came here the right way, have no idea what the laws were when their ancestors came over, if they even knew when their ancestors came over. They don't even understand how easy it was for their ancestors to come over. I'm not saying that it was easy for their ancestors to come over. Their ancestors sacrificed a lot to buy the ticket to come over. They left everything they knew. It is difficult for someone to immigrate, no matter what time period it is, whether it's 100 years ago, whether it's today, to leave everything they know and to go to a foreign country. It is infinitely more difficult today to do it the right way. And those Americans who continue to say that over and over, that they did it the right way, simply do not understand how difficult it is today. Or, worse yet, they don't care. And I'm concerned that it's that second. They don't care, that there is no empathy. And they use the excuse of, my ancestors did it the right way. There's no excuse. Your ancestors did it the right way because a white European government set it up that way. A white European government made it easier for your ancestors to make it so, and continue today to make it so. It's not right.
It sucks to be a white American. Now hold on, give me a chance, let me explain. I want you to think of the kind of person who would put on a White Lives Matter sticker on the back of their Ford pickup. Why do they do that? Is it all racism? Well, yeah. But I think it goes a lot deeper than that. White Americans basically have no culture. Not in the same way we see other people. And we white people, we know this inherently, and it scares us. We know we have our regional cultures. Our cities, our sports teams, and families all give us our regional culture, but being white basically means nothing, or generally at least nothing positive. White people throughout American history are almost always seen on the side of the oppressors. Not all white people, but most of us. And this sucks to learn. It's even harder to internalize. And it's why white people usually don't accept this, because it makes us feel a deep sense of guilt. I think it's why white people say nonsense like, I can't be racist, I have black friends. Sure, you probably don't see black people as objects, but you're refusing to accept the role our people have had in their oppression. That guilt we feel is our responsibility for the actions of our ancestors. It's why white people refuse to say that black people deserve reparation, because it admits our guilt. But black people deserve reparations. It just makes sense logically. You can sue someone for scratching your car, but black people can't sue the American government for the enslavement of their people. My people are arresting and deporting Mexican families from this country. Think about that. We are telling people that they are not allowed on the land we stole. Let's go a step further. White people stole a sacred land site from the people indigenous to this land, and then carved 4 white people's faces on it, most of which were slave owners. I mean, Mount Rushmore is a place that we look at and we're like, oh cool, giant faces. But to other people, it's a giant form of oppression, and admitting that and coming to terms with that sucks. We suck, dude. My people really and truly suck. Not all of us contributed to this oppression, but we are all a part of it. And this will mostly sound like virtue signaling. It will mostly sound like, look at how rough we are. But there is a reality to admitting this guilt and being honest with it. Because white people are afraid to do this. And we're afraid to admit it because my people are weak. White people are weak. We have power we have given ourselves, and put down the cultures that are stronger than us because we know that we're weak. If white Americans were oppressed the same way black, native, or Mexican American people are, we would crack like glass. Our culture and identity as white people is so meaningless that we do everything in our power to keep other people down so that we don't break from having someone else on top. I think that's why you see white Americans championing white pride, not just out of ignorance or racism, but it's because they are scared. They're scared to come to terms with their guilt, scared to admit they're wrong, and terrified to acknowledge that we may have all the societal, economic, and political power, but as a people we are weak. But this isn't the way it has to be forever. I have hope that one day my people will finally take responsibility for what we have done. I hope that we'll collectively accept our role in the oppression of our non-white brothers and sisters and finally take action. And it will take the action of us white folks. It's not just non-white people that have to fight for their rights. It's us too fighting for them, because our cross to bear is being born white. Being born with the skin color of the oppressors means that we have to fight to be nothing like them. We're not near that right now. America is in a tumultuous stage where it very much does not feel like white people are acknowledging where they went wrong. But I want to have hope, and I refuse to accept that one day justice won't prevail. Collectively, we can all shed the shadow of oppression and share this place together. And that's the message I want to end with. I want to be hopeful that one day oppression will be something taught in history class, you know, something that we don't have to see ourselves in. That's what I hope. Anyway, I want to be optimistic in the end. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
I'm an American. We don't have free health insurance. We don't have really free anything. I'm an American. Doesn't matter if you have health insurance, because it's still going to take you 6 months to get seen by anyone, and then they're going to gaslight you into thinking nothing's wrong. I'm an American. You have to pay insurance on your house, except it's not going to cover earthquakes, disasters, hurricanes, or fires anymore. I'm an American. Gotta pay insurance on the car too, but that probably won't matter because they're probably not going to pay you out. Also, never use your insurance, because then your premiums go up and then you have to pay more. I'm an American. Food, isn't it right? Food's a luxury, and it's expensive. We've got a McDonald's on just about every block because it's way cheaper than making your own food. I'm an American. Everyone here hates everyone who lives here, and everyone here hates everyone who doesn't live here, and everyone hates everyone who tries to live here. Patriotic. I'm an American. I'm basically the average American. I'm not alone in feeling like this. I'm definitely not alone in being like this. Welcome to Poverty America. We love it here. I'm an American. I pay $1,600 for a flat that has no bedroom. That's 2/3 of my income. I'm an American. I work 50 hours a week. I don't have health insurance. I'm an American. I couldn't afford to have a child even if I wanted to. I'm $7,000 in debt. I'm an American. My health is declining because I can't afford Whole Foods because that's too expensive for my life. I am very overqualified for my job, but no one else is hiring. I'm an American. I make my boss hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, while I can barely keep myself alive. I'm an American. I have never been out of the States. I have never been on a vacation. I'm an American. I make $20-some an hour. A livable wage here is like 30-some. Yet I don't qualify for government assistance whatsoever. On the days I don't work, I'm so tired I just sleep all day. I'm an American. My electric bill is so expensive I sit outside in the heat because I can't afford to turn the AC on in the damn house. I'm an American, and I fear I'm just an average American. I'm living the American dream.
Americans are so broke and they don't even realize it. I always get Americans tell me, oh, but people in Mexico only make $20 a day. You can get a full meal here for $2. The metro in Mexico City costs 5 pesos, which is like 25 cents. I can go to the market right now and buy 3 kilos of mangoes for like $2. Yeah, people make less money here, but the cost of living is also lower. Americans think that everywhere is like the US. Now, check this out. Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes. I'm being generous. Rent, $2,000. Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200. Health insurance, $200. Phone bill, $100. Wi-Fi bill, $50. Light bill, $150. Water bill, $100. What's the point of making more money if you don't get to keep any of it? Who cares if you make $4,000 a month if you don't get to keep any of it? 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes half of six-figure earners. 80% of you guys are in debt and don't own anything. And half of you guys don't even have $500 in your savings account. But let's call other countries poor and let's call other people poor. Living paycheck to paycheck your whole life and being in debt your whole life should be considered poverty, but it's not. And I know this is going to hurt a lot of Americans, but it's the truth. The US system wants you to spend every waking moment of your life working and paying into a system that will never benefit you. Slaving away your whole life just to be retired for a measly 10 years. At least here in Mexico, we own our things. We own our houses. We own our cars. We're not in debt. But anyways, that's a story for another day. Let me know what you guys think.
America has reached the pinnacle of its success. We are on a downward spiral. You cannot get pregnant in this country. You cannot get sick in this country. God forbid you have to call an ambulance. The government is taking away all assistance to healthcare, while we produce new stealth bombers that do missions in Iran for other countries. How unfortunate for us, the American citizens. This is the current state of our country. You cannot get sick. God help you if you do. Our government, they're all 90 years old, and all they care about is staying in office. They don't care whether you can survive. They don't care whether you're in debt. They don't care whether the banks take your home or your car or everything from you. Because you do not dare get sick in this country.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. Well, I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you're watching me from. As you know, I'm your host again and your presenter, Jindrik Stories. We need to discuss about these topics, these issues that are really important. And I'm going to be saying that for generations, you know very well that whiteness in America came with the implicit social contract. The contract promised stability, upward mobility, and a home in the suburbs, and a dignified life in exchange for conformity to the norms of white middle-class America. This idea was reinforced through media, education, religion, and politics. The promise wasn't extended equally across racial lines. In fact, it was often built directly on the exclusion and exploitation of others. Black people, indigenous communities, and immigrants were historically denied the very benefits white Americans considered normal. So when the American dream begins to fracture, white Americans feel it as a loss. Black Americans, on the other hand, see it as a confirmation of long-known truth that the system was never secure, never fair, and never designed for all. Right? The crisis today that we're seeing is not just economic, it is spiritual and psychological. Right? Many white Americans are facing a kind of existential disorientation. It's called existential disorientation. Some other thing I'll call cognitive dissonance. They see their wages stagnating, debts growing, families fracturing, and communities hollowed out by the opioids and unemployment. But unlike black communities, who have long built resilience in the face of systemic abandonment, white communities are now encountering unfamiliar and disorienting terrain. The loss of purpose, the loss of community, the loss of hope, which leads to quiet but growing mental breakdown, evident in rising rates of suicide, anxiety, and substance abuse and political radicalization. Remember, the type of social life that people in the United States lives is different from the type of social life that any other Asian country or maybe Africa lives. Why am I saying so? Remember, there is high consumption of social media today, and that's part of globalization, right? But that negative consequences, because when somebody is going through something, they will not share because according to the social life that people are having. And this leads to a mental breakdown. And when this leads to mental breakdown, this has a devastating effect to all these people because they did find resilience that black people had. The black people had to live with and find out the truth that indeed they've been going through a lot of things as opposed to what white folks are going through. Because the very, very system that insulated them from all these things, it is the same damn system that opened them. And they are having this radiation, just like black people have been having it. Right? No social lives, no savings, no plans. This reflects a collapsing middle-class ideal that once served as the backbone of American life. It's not just that white Americans are economically insecure, it's that the culture mythology of superiority, safety, and deserved prosperity is crumbling beneath their feet. For many, this creates a deep sense of betrayal. They've been taught that hard work guarantees success, that their place in society was secure, and that the decline of America is due to outsiders or internal enemies. When no one that proves true, the internal collapse becomes hard to contain. Still, cognitive dissonance. And you'll find that this is true. Because when you live in you are insulated from certain types of problem. And then the people that provided all these securities are all kind of flipping. And you find yourself in a problematic place to accept the reality. Some people even go mad, right? Because those things happen and not everyone embrace change in a positive way. It calls for resilience, something that black people have always showed in human history. Meanwhile, the black Americans, long familiar with the systemic hardship, tend to have different coping strategies. The black the black community has for centuries learned to make plans for the midst of instability. Savings were created collectively through community lending, churches, and served as a social anchor, and social life was also built around solidarity rather than individualistic consumption. The hardships why America is experiencing now are not new for black Americans. They are inherited, lived, and prepared for. Right? Also, you need to understand that this is not romanticized black suffering, but this is to highlight the adaptive strengths born out of struggle. The differences is stark. White America is just beginning to experience the fraying of a safety net they thought that theirs by right. Black Americans are not given that. They were forced to build their own systems, often in the face of violence, exclusion, and sabotage. From redlining and underfunding schools to police brutality and wage disparity. As a couple of things that I'm addressing right now, really, really important for us to have to come and talk about this. Also, I feel like the truth is that most lied on demographic in America may indeed be working class and middle class white Americans. They were told they were immune to forces of economic collapse, cultural displacement, and political betrayal. They were made to believe that whiteness was not only a race but a shield. But capitalism doesn't have pavement allies at all interest. And now, those interests have shifted away from rural white laborers, former factory workers, and small business owners. Global finance, automation, and elite consolidation have rendered many of them expendable, just as they long ago rendered black workers expendable. Right? So, as a result, many white Americans are turning to conspiracies, scapegoats, and political extremism rather than reckoning with the betrayal. This is where the mental breakdown becomes dangerous, not just internal but national. Unable to locate real resources, unable to locate real sources of their pain, corporate greed, government failure, and systemic decay, they target immigrants, people of color, or liberal elites. This misdirection prevents the emergence of true solidarity between suffering groups and perpetuates cycles of division. Also, the irony is that black thinkers and activists have been warning about all these all along. James Baldwin, for instance, repeatedly pointed out that white Americans were not only imprisoned by their illusion of superiority, but they were also being spiritually and psychologically destroyed by them. He wrote that they are trapped in a history they do not understand, and until they understand it, they cannot be released from it. Right? That prophecy now plays out daily on America's main streets, social media, and political campaigns. Also, what you need to understand is that what's happening right now, what's happened then, is not simply economic collapse of a demographic. It is a spiritual reckoning with the falsehood of Americans' exceptionalism. White America is waking up to the reality that black America never had the luxury of dreaming away from it. And in that, perhaps, there is an opportunity to move beyond delusion, beyond division, and towards a shared struggle for justice, truth, and rebuilding. And this is where I find this really important. You get to understand that black people have been resilient for a long time. And it's not like this has not been happening. This is something that has been happening. And this is something that has been there for quite a while right now. But it is our resilience you became to understand. It is how that we have black scholars that try to warn you all about all these system plays that they were put in front of you. And you fall right into the pit. You fall right into the target that they set for you. And so I still feel like there's still hope to change this. But people need to understand that solidarity really matters. Understanding and being empathetic that black people have been going through this for the longest time makes you understand and come together to work together and find the solution of all these. Because true understanding comes from empathy, comes from understanding that, damn, these people have been going through a lot. I'm just feeling what's on the tip of the iceberg. This is not just everything that these people have been going through. So even as you watch this video today, I really want to know how you feel about this. As you know, I'm your host and presenter, Jintok Stories, and I'll be really delighted if you could just subscribe to my channel, join my membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. But until then, I'm hoping to see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.